Blink twice if you were expecting an average yet engaging thriller, but ultimately a pretty predictable, relatively basic one with a lot of generic characters and a storyline that leaves a lot of unfulfilled potential. Now blink twice if what you were expecting was exactly what you got.
So, everybody's dead.
When I watched the trailer for this movie, my first thought was, rich guy, private island, recipe for disaster. Just a bad idea, but also not a very original idea either. However, I was excited to see this because the director on this one is Zoë Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter, who is a big actress. She's been in a lot of stuff, but Blink Twice is actually her directorial debut. So I was excited what she has in store for us and what she did with Blink Twice. Her movie follows a woman named Frida who's obsessed with a rich CEO called Slater King, and she accepts an invitation to his private island without really knowing anything about Slater King or anything about his friends or anybody else that she is going with. Come on, Frida. Just dumb. It's 2024. Let's make better decisions. Everybody, let's make better decisions. When she arrives, there are obviously many red flags, no phones allowed. All of the women have preset wardrobes, so to say. They have to wear these kind of white draped dresses, robe type things, very cult vibes, just a bad situation in general. So that's the premise of the plot. First thing that happens in this movie is a trigger warning, and I've never actually been to a movie that has actually issued a trigger warning on screen, and the trigger warning is for sexual assault. So right off the bat, the person that came to the movie with me turns to me and is like, what the hell did you get me into? And I'm like, I don't actually know. But I'm not surprised that the movie includes scenes revolving around this subject because, after all, it's a movie on a sketchy private island with a sketchy rich dude and his sketchy, corrupt, rich friends. But the plot and the main theme does go deeper than that. The movie explores themes of suppressed trauma and living a perfect life, unburdened by having to truly deal with any of the more so ugly parts of life and the ugly parts that life throws at you. Channing Tatum's character, Slater King, believes that the best way to get through trauma really is just forgetting it and suppressing it in order to live a life of tranquility, unbothered by anything that's ever happened to him in his past. And obviously, we soon figure out, his way of life is really just projection. And ultimately, if you bottle up your trauma and don't face it head on, it may come out all at once in the form of violent, unhinged female rage. You'll love to see it. So first and foremost, something I love about this movie is that it is very visually appealing. The bright, vibrant colors are really striking and they really make the movie pop, and there's also a lot of use of high contrast colors that are striking as well. The style of the movie is pretty chic and modern, but also a bit dramatic and edgy, so I like the juxtaposition there. And alongside the soundtrack of the movie and some of the filming techniques, I think that the look and feel of this movie is spot on, and I think Zoë Kravitz had a really great vision here. Unfortunately, though, I feel that the style of the movie really outshines the actual substance of it, and I think it's partly due to the script being a bit sporadic and a huge lack of character development for all of the characters throughout. I found myself really engaged at parts and really liking the direction, and then all of a sudden something would happen and I would kind of disengage a bit, then be re-engaged. So I was really in and out of this movie a lot, which is not a positive, and I felt they really prioritized the look of the movie than the actual message and the actual takeaway. Also, I really just didn't like our main character, Frida, for some reason. I kind of felt she was all over the place. I wasn't too sure of her main goal. The end of the movie kind of embellishes that for us, but it really just shows the main goal is a bit shallow, and I don't really understand her obsession with Slater King. And to talk about Slater King, Channing Tatum's character, I love Channing Tatum, but I think he should stick to comedy because Slater King is such a gross character to play, and I hate Channing Tatum had to be the one to do it. But he did really good. That's just a personal thing. However, to add a positive point to this movie, I really like the character of Sarah. I thought she was really funny, and she delivered all of her lines perfectly. Most notably, Fat Blunts. Fat Blunts, anybody, if you know, you know. She was kind of a shining light in this movie for me and added some good humor where we needed some. However, when Blink Twice takes its dark turn, it almost feels a little bit unrealistic in a weird way because it's a total flip of how everybody, both the girls and the guys, act and interact towards each other throughout the whole entirety of the movie, especially the boys. It's like night and day. It's like day, they're Dr. Jekyll, night, they're Mr. Hyde. And I think the film did this on purpose to explore, the theme of how things can go from super amazing to super horrible in the blink of an eye. But the way it was executed and everything leading up to this moment didn't feel quite right and felt a little bit underdeveloped. And it's a shame since the movie takes on very serious topics. And again, I think that the overall message was overshadowed by a lot of other things that the filmmakers put their time and effort into. Some of the other themes in this movie also include self-identity and self-discovery, which I also thought these themes were underdeveloped as well. Which leads me to the end. I really don't like the end. They go with a girl boss end, which I usually like, and I know a lot of people will like this ending, but for me, I felt it was unfortunate because what I really wanted from our main character, Frida, is for her to gather her own sense of self-identity free from the grasp of Slater King. But her redemption really just happens to be a facade, and I didn't really like that direction that they went for. It wasn't the ending I was looking for. So apart from the story in general lacking for me, there's also some blaring conveniences in here and some unrealistic aspects of the movie which do hinder the plot as well. While there are some positives here that I mentioned, most notably the beautiful coloring of the movie, the fun soundtrack, and some standout characters, there's a lot of flaws in this one for me. This is a 2.5 out of 5, unfortunately. I wouldn't rewatch this one, and I would probably skip it in the theater. And I didn't leave the theater with the impact that I think the film wanted us to have. Really, what I left the theater with was, how many times did Slater King say, "I'm sorry"? That was probably the scariest part of the film, and I'm still thinking about it to this day. But what did you guys think? Thank you guys for watching. Let me know, and catch me next time. Peace.